first thing I'm going to show you varies depending on textbook or teacher or instruction, but they all can mean the same thing as long as you if you pay careful attention to the definition of the letters. So if you use this notation, A, the number multiplying in front of your cosine, dictates the amplitude of your function. So in our function, our amplitude is going to be 3. It's going to go up 3 from its origin, down 3 from its origin, then repeat. The B represents any change to the period of the function, which means how fast it goes before it starts repeating itself. So B in our function is just 1, so our period hasn't changed. The period of cosine is 2 pi when it's unchanged. So that means we're going to go 2 pi units, and then the graph's going to start repeating and start doing the same thing. The C represents the horizontal shift from its original starting place. So doing a minus pi over 4, that means we're actually going to go pi over 4 spaces forward before we start drawing our cosine graph from the origin. And the minus 2 is a vertical shift. This tells us to go down 2 spaces from the origin to draw our graph. So let's start with the location of our starting point. Cosine of x looks like this. Okay, when it's unchanged, it starts at positive 1, goes down to negative 1, then back up to positive 1, then repeats. Our graph goes pi over 4 spaces to the right. And so if we looked at the amplitude of 3 means we can fall a total of 6 spaces from here. Because the amplitude means you're supposed to be 3 spaces up from the midline, 3 spaces down. But the midline has also been shifted, because if you go back here, minus 2 means we have a vertical shrink of 2. So our midline, instead of being right here at 0, has been shifted down 2 spaces. So if our midline's been shifted down 2 spaces and our amplitude is 3, that means we go up 1, 2, 3 as our highest. That puts us at positive 1. And then we're going to go down 2, 3 from the midline for our lowest point. So negative 5 is as low as this graph can go. And so with that information in mind, now we can draw the starting point. Starts right here, because that's pi over 4 spaces shifted to the right. That's what this told us to do. And then we took into account that the midline was shifted 2 spaces down, and that we had an amplitude of 3. So there's our midline, and 3 spaces up starts us at 1. So that's what our graph should look like. And we didn't have any funny business with, let's see, it's supposed to go down a little bit further, down to negative 5, and then repeat. We didn't have any funny business with shifting the period of the function, meaning how long it takes to repeat, so we didn't have to do anything with that. We've taken into account all 3 of those numbers, so that's a sketch of the graph.